all set? All right, I'll call the meeting to order and we'll salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Trustee Trombley.
Here.
Trustee Malinsky.
Here.
Trustee Connor.
Here.
Trustee Herzog.
Here.
Mayor McFetrich.
Here. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting, please?
So moved.
And a second? Second. Any discussion, corrections? Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Presentation of petitions, communications, and general question period for members of the community. So we have some members of the community. What do you have to share with us tonight?
Well, we were talking a little bit before we came to the meeting, wanting to know the status, whether or not there is a possibility of a pickleball court. We've talked about that in the past. I don't know if that has gone anywhere. I know you needed a specific foundation for that has drainage.
Yes, exactly, and then we need the money to fund that surface. So probably would be a matter of getting some kind of grant, maybe through the health department for that, because it's so expensive. It's a lot more expensive than just regular concrete. I think we have the space for it, but we, down at the playground, don't you think, Nikki?
There's
Yeah.
a lot of space there between the playground and the community garden. There's
Yeah.
a couple of small trees, but we drove
Right.
by and there was a pretty large area
Yeah.
there.
And the plan that was drawn up probably 5 years ago shows that area as actually a basketball court to move it back and an ice rink there. So that could be a pickleball court there. But the problem's going to finding the funding for that kind of surface. The health department does have, maybe not right now, but they've worked really well with us in the past, so I could reach out and ask them about funding something like that.
Now, would signatures from the students at the school, would that make a difference?
I would say so. Community involvement always helps.
So that would be something that you
could
guys,
do.
yeah, but I don't know if there's a specific form or something that you could give to them that I could photocopy and they could enlist their friends to get signatures.
I think if you just came up with, a petition and a statement about the people signed below would support the a pickleball court in the village of Champlain and any kind of funding, it'd be something I could attach to an application.
And when you say any kind of funding,
I don't know where the funding is gonna come from, but.
you wouldn't want a statement as far as funding?
No, because I don't know, but
Okay,
I could
that's
use it with
I
various
misunderstood.
applications, we get money from, other stewards, gives us money usually. It might be a combination of different groups. But I think that would be pretty powerful to have a lot of community people sign it. Yeah, I'd welcome that if you're willing to do it.
And since nothing would be done before spring anyway, you have plenty of time to get signatures.
Yeah, a lot of the applications go in the winter, so I'd say maybe by February.
And we can
You
get done
had-
before that, it shouldn't take more than a couple months.
Would it be students only or
No, I think it could be
adults?
anybody, adults seem to love pickleball too, I haven't played it, but it looks like fun.
Now this, and I don't know if I'm asking too many questions.
No.
Would this be like, would we have like print name and then signature, or just signature, or would you want a
Think it can just be signature, but make sure it's legible,
oh, yeah, I see.
I would say do it similar to what we do when we do our petitions for
When they're not addressed.
So-
candidate. No, I don't even
No,
know
I
that
don't
it would
think
need
it
to
would
be
address.
an address.
So have signature and print name
Print
side by
name.
side and just go down and maybe have space for, 25 and have a couple of pages, 2 or 3 pages.
You guys could easily do that. And the other thing that we had noticed that you had gotten the stumps for a while back for the community educational area, was anything done with those as far as decorating them or
We didn't
preserving
get to
them?
decorating them, but we did use them.
Okay.
The kids sat on them as we discussed, how our garden grew and then, creating a salad with it, so. We started using them, but the plan is to paint something on the top.
I know that,
Yeah,
for
we
National
definitely have.
Honor Society, all the community
Oh,
service
yeah.
hours that they could possibly get, because maybe they could, how many are there?
8? 8,
6 or 8, yeah, I don't
I
remember.
remember, I was there when he delivered them.
So they'll just be sitting there all winter so we could go count?
Oh, yeah, we're not moving them.
Oh, well, yeah, I just wanted to-
Actually, I mean, we may move them a little out of the way because they often dump the snow, extra snow there.
They are stacked now,
Yeah.
so they did get moved from where they were.
Because I'm sure that,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
you
we
guys
could do
could, you know,
That
come
would
up with
be awesome.
maybe 6 or 8 different designs, a flower, maybe a
Yeah.
sun, a moon and stars, or, you know, and
Yeah.
have each one decorated.
Who's the advisor for the National Honor Society at school?
I actually don't.
Is it Kathy Light?
Is this still Mrs. Light?
It might be Mrs. Meisner. I don't know.
She's like the one that we handed the form into and gave out the forms.
Because they both apply for National Honor
Mhm.
Society.
Yeah, that's great.
But
Nikki,
yeah, we
we,
can work together.
we could
for some kind
also,
of project.
we could also involve them in what you and I didn't get done.
The sign?
No, well, that and then painting the green
Oh,
structure
yes.
that Chuck painted. So you know where the
That's
water,
true.
the tank is for, to water the garden?
Yes.
Well, Mr. Connor, painted it nicely green, and Nikki and I were going to paint a lot of flowers on it, you know,
Yeah.
like a little garden of flowers around, and we didn't get that done either. So that would be another thing that could be done,
Mhm.
all down there.
Okay, because either, yeah, Honor Society or maybe
Just
members of non-UN or just people that are interested
Yeah.
in getting community service
Volunteer,
hours.
yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
just, people interested in beautifying, yeah. I mean, we welcome the help.
Mhm.
So we could readdress that later on in the spring. Will there be an ice rink this year?
Depends on the weather.
Maybe. It's so weather dependent. That's been our problem. You get a winter that's really cold, it stays frozen, but you could work on it for days and then a warm day and
And then it rains
you
into
lose
it and
it.
freezes over and it's all
Yeah,
all over.
yeah, or it evaporates and then the plastic, the liner is flying everywhere and it's intensive to put it in.
I'm sure.
I love it, but I can't answer that for sure.
Any other thoughts?
Okay, I think that's cool. Keep thinking, but then when we have to hand out the petition, we could also ask what they think of it too, or like what else they think of.
Yeah,
Yeah, get some
get
ideas.
get an idea of what people want, you know, like what the interests are. You know, if they're looking for an ice rink or if they want pickleball or what it is people are looking for. You know, you can even, I mean, it doesn't need to be, we're looking for a pickleball. I mean, if people have ideas of things that they might like, then you can just put anything down.
Do the people that sign have to be like residents of the village?
You know, I don't think so, because the village is really open
Okay.
to everybody, you know,
Well,
I would
it would
say-
be maybe anybody, should maybe town?
well, I
Because-
think it should be the town, I
The
wouldn't
town.
pass it around, you know, in some other Moore's, no,
Yeah.
Moore's
Knocking doors
is
on
actually,
Plattsburgh,
but
no,
Plattsburgh,
yeah,
I wouldn't
but-
take it down to
so
Plattsburgh.
Yeah,
Rouse's
but
point.
because I was gonna say like the kids at school aren't gonna all be from Champlain, you know,
Yeah.
so.
No, I would say anyone at Northeastern Clinton,
Okay.
yeah,
Because that would include children from Halbert as well.
that's fine, you know, people come from all over to our activities, yeah. That's good, we like that.
Anything else? You do the children's Christmas.
Mhm.
Do you need help
Sure.
with that?
Got the trunk or treat coming
I'm throwing
I
these kids
know.
under the
Okay,
bus
the
right
trunk
and
or
left.
treat is on the
Oh,
29th, and
We've actually been asked to do that for NHS too. They've been looking for people to do that.
For National Honor Society?
Yeah.
well, I don't know if it's for ours or if Rouse's Point Elementary's having one but ours is on the 29th at 2. And
At
if
the
you wanna
village
come
park.
decorate a trunk and hand out candy, that'd be wonderful, cause I have no idea how many are coming.
We had about
29th.
150
It's on a
last year.
Saturday.
Well, we have a lot of kids, but I don't know how many
No,
trunks we're
trunks,
having.
Oh.
I
6:30.
that oh, but I have invitationals or
Uh-huh.
sectionals. I have cross country like all day Saturday. I don't know if
Oh,
I'll be able
okay,
to go.
all right. Maybe you
That's
know
fine.
someone who'd like to come and decorate a trunk and hand out candy.
I mean, I don't know.
She doesn't run.
She runs in
And you
spring.
have no
I can-
plans on the 29th of October, do you? Yeah, so if you'd like to, that'd be great. You just come down to the playground and,
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know how long it goes for?
oh, it's really quick. Like
Oh.
150 kids go through in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
very quick,
Very, very quick. So,
definitely
half
very
an
less than
hour.
an hour.
yeah, it's less than an hour. Yeah. That'd be great.
You can ask some of your friends and see.
Yeah, yeah. Get some friends to come with you. And you can dress up too if you want.
Okay.
That's
Oh,
fine.
yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
And I can reach out to you guys about, the Christmas.
Yes, it's on December 10th.
Yeah.
The Christmas activities will be on December 10th.
Okay, yeah, that'd be good.
Yep.
And remind me of that date the next time I see you,
Yeah.
just message me
I can
because
message you.
I won't, it'll be gone by the time I get home and I'll be like, what day did she say? Did you have anything else?
I don't know anything else.
All right, thank you so much. Really, really nice of you to come and participate. Really appreciate it.
And then work on that petition and,
Yeah.
hopefully we can get some money for pickleball court
Yeah.
and get, maybe, like you said, to get some ideas from some of the other students, what they'd like to see within reason.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd like to see a skate park and all kinds of other things like
I
that,
know,
but that's
it's
not
really
gonna
boxing
happen.
ring.
It's just too
Because I know
expensive.
they tried, when Nick was
Yes.
younger, the petition went through and I helped him and he got hundreds of signatures and then it just, nothing
So
happened.
it's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It's, yeah.
You know, it's, yeah, we just can't,
Well,
do
the
it.
Insurance.
The insurance for
Yeah.
the village
Insurance.
is really what
Yeah,
did it.
well, yeah, it was both. We also didn't have, $300,000 to build it. And then the
We still
insurance. And we still don't, right? Right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you very
Okay.
much, you have a good evening.
Thanks, always nice to see you.
Good luck to you that you're in your.
Thank you.
Does our other community member have anything to say? Jimmy?
I'm not a community member, live in the town.
I think you are. Okay. Report from the code enforcement officer. Good timing.
I'm here.
Okay, so you have his report.
Did you get it? I couldn't remember if I printed it off or not.
Yeah, you did, you
Okay.
did, and yes, and I shared it with everybody.
Well, this one.
Yeah. But, I mean, I always like it when Chris comes, but one of the things is I want him to explain to you much better than I can, this, local law requirement for the New York State Building Code.
Yeah.
So maybe you can just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Department of State, it's called Section 1203. It's the mandate that all the towns adopt a local law that says that we can enforce the New York State Uniform Code. They pretty much lay out what we have to put in it. We can add more stringent things, we can't take away from their minimum standards. So they just are doing an update. It's actually, we have to adopt it by December 31st of this year. So they sent a template, I worked all last week. I drew up the local law, gave it to the mayor, and I believe you forwarded it to Tom or Nate.
Mm-hmm.
I reached out to Tom multiple times, I hadn't heard anything back, so I just wrote everything. There's not a ton of changes, there are some. I think the biggest changes are a lot of the exemptions that we had, we can no longer do. Things such as installing fencing now are gonna require a permit. That's from the state. Trying to think what else, I had it all in my head, of course, earlier. It now does remote inspections, because of COVID, we can do remote inspections, which I'll probably still never do, but it is updated in there. The operating permits is a big change in there. We never really gave operating permits for stuff like welding, hot work, things of those nature, so that's all updated. There's a lot of updates for parking garages, which doesn't affect us. But nonetheless, there are some changes, there's some wording changes that we're changing. All in all, I don't think we'll see like a huge, you won't notice a change, but it will kind of thicken up the chapter that we have to adopt. So we definitely need to look at that and get it updated so it can get to the attorneys and then to you and then to the state to be adopted by hopefully December 31st. I don't know the ramifications if we don't get it on time. I'm sure it's not good with the Department of State, but it is all, I believe it's pretty much done.
Yeah,
There
thank you for
shouldn't
doing
be-
all that work, Chris.
Yeah, no problem. There shouldn't be. There might be a typo somewhere, but it's still editable, so
Yeah.
we can review it and make changes. So if there's any changes that the board wants to the code, now would be the time to do it while we're updating. You know, if we want to make more stringent changes or changes to our unsafe buildings and structures law that we deal with quite a bit here in the village, now would be the time to do it. Feel free to shoot me an email, you know, with the mayor attached, and we can look at where the best place to insert anything is, or, you know, if it makes sense to do it or if it doesn't. But we need to get on the ball with that and get it going.
Do you think there's anything that we're missing that we should have?
No, I think it actually covers a lot. I mean, it really, looking at the new model they sent and then looking at ours, there's a lot of stuff we had omitted just in terms of wording and whatnot. I mean, we found a couple spots where our attorneys or whoever done it before didn't insert Village of Champlain. So we were actually not able to enforce certain sections. Luckily,
It
we
was a
never.
long time ago.
That's
Yeah.
not good.
So luckily we never had to, but it was just things like that, making sure that the definitions fit with what our sections say. You know, like we have compliance orders here. The state's no longer doing compliance orders. It's now called an order to remedy, where if we have to, some builder has to fix something. So we just need to change that throughout so it's consistent. 'Cause if you write a ticket for an order to remedy and it says, well,
Yeah.
you can write a ticket for a compliance issue, it's gonna get thrown out, and we just wasted a bunch of time. So it was really just looking at the wording of it. It should be all right. Please look it over when you get it, and it's very dry, boring material, but in the end, it's really important when, you know, we start writing violations and going through the Unsafe Building Act, like we have been, to make sure that all the wording's correct and it's the process that we want. I think one other change we did discuss was the fines for, I believe it was unsafe properties.
I think so.
I had talked with the judge, most other places have, you know, a $200 fine and or 15 days imprisonment.
Yes, we're talking about the imprisonment.
We changed it to imprisonment. No one's ever going to get put in jail for a property code violation, but it's a little extra push that the courts can use to get things moving. Because we have so many things downtown that need to work on, and you know, I'm not going to say who, but we've issued tickets and they pay their $25, $50 fine, and the next day the same thing happens. They pay another $50 fine, the same thing happens. So those reoccurring issues that we have, the judge can finally say, hey, you know, this needs to get cleaned up, or we can actually assign jail time to this. So it might just be a little more push to get things cleaned up beyond what we have. We will have to look at the fee schedule again, because now we're doing things like fencing. Can't really do square footage of fencing like we have on the current schedule, so we'll just have to update that. I've been working on it in here, the town, and Shazy, because we're way behind the rest of the county on what we charge. We're undercharging a lot. You know, with inflation, everything's gone up, but we're really undercharging. So that'll be coming around too. I'll get to that once this all settles down.
So when you talk about fencing, are you talking about like privacy fencing that
Yeah.
people put up because you don't wanna look at neighbors' properties?
Yeah, so it used to be we weren't doing permits for that because it wasn't technically a structure. The state is now clarifying that as a structure. I think they've had too many property line disputes, and it's happened here too. So now we'll actually be able to regulate that and make sure that it's, you know, a foot or so off the property line so they can maintain their side. That might be something we want to add, that if you're going to put a fence, it's got to be just off the property line because you're responsible for both sides. So if you're putting a fence up because you have an issue with a neighbor, they're not going to allow you on their property to maintain that side of the fence. So that might be something we want to add, just, you know, little things like that that we want to add to
That's a good point.
make it easier on everybody. And not run into those issues down the road where neighbors are fighting that one side looks terrible but they won't give them access.
Yeah. I'll get that out to you electronically, what Chris has done so far. Read it over with your ideas, and then when Tom gets back to me, I'll let you know what he says. We'll meet that deadline. We'll get
Yeah,
that-
we
we'll
should.
get that done.
So luckily I wrote it quicker than I thought it was going to, so.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna take you like a really long time.
Yeah, but that's the main points of that. I honestly don't remember what's on the report, so if anybody has questions
Yeah, I
from the
don't know,
report,
does anyone
just,
have any questions? Did you talk to the people who are working on that demolition downtown to see if
he's
they
not
think-
called me back yet.
He has not,
Nope.
just wondering how they're gonna handle that through the winter.
Yeah, I think at this point, I'm gonna send him a certified letter that he's gonna have to do something.
This is the burned out property.
Yeah, you know, they're working, but it's very slow.
Yeah, it seemed like they were getting a lot done at first, and now it's
Yeah.
kind of slowed up.
I haven't seen anyone around there
They weren't
recently.
there for a while and then I saw them back there and they cleaned like some of the bags and that crap that was off in the back, but.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
think you'd wanna get some of it done and covered for the winter.
Yeah.
I think a realistic goal for the winter would be him cleaning up the exterior of it right now, kind of taking the rest of the second story off, and then
Yeah.
closing the structure up for the winter. You know, at least we're not gonna get more damage in there with snow and animals and whatnot, so I know we're gonna sit on it probably another winter, but if everyone can agree that that's a realistic goal that I can try and get him to, at least
I would say so.
do that instead of having the stuff lying all outside, you know,
Yeah.
all winter, getting
Yes.
more water damage and it's hard to clean up after.
Yeah,
What's this 9/11 address mapping reevaluation?
Yeah, so there's West Service Road, when Office of Emergency Services labeled it or assigned addresses, they don't really line up with where the buildings are. I got a call from the Champlain Fire Department that they had a call up there at the State Police Barracks. Well, the State Police are using, I believe it's 116 West Service Road, and they're actually 114. So 116 doesn't exist.
So it's in a specific area, not total wide.
Yeah, so he did it by driveways, where the driveway to the building is. But some of the buildings, like Just in Time Trucking, is actually closer. Coming north, you'll hit that building before you hit the state police, but it's numbered afterwards. So it was very confusing. There was no numbers out on the mailboxes. So the fire department decided that if I get them a list of who needs numbers, they were going to make the actual number signs. We were going to label the whole street, so it covers a little bit of the village, a little bit of the town. But now there's not an issue
Right.
when people are going up there, if there ever is an actual emergency.
wow, that's pretty important.
Yeah, it came in because state police doesn't actually have a central alarm. When they have an alarm, it goes to a third party who doesn't know it's a state police barracks, so they just give the number. Instead of saying it's a state police barracks, then the fire department goes by to Derringer, realizes they've gone too far, and has no idea. You know, they know now, but we're just gonna get them renumbered.
Yeah,
And I think you'll see we're gonna work on that around the village and town more too, getting numbers. It is a state code. It's not something we do a lot of because it's not like forefront in our minds.
Yeah.
But we need to start getting numbers on buildings and,
you know, all of Route 9 was renumbered with that extra one, and there are a lot of people,
right.
myself included, who don't really have the right, they don't have the right number on the building.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge in fire response. You know, did the structure fire the other night, coming from Rouse's Point, we didn't know what the number was. We had no idea where it was. Luckily somebody said, you know, Route 9 and Willow, then we know. But if you just get a number, a lot of times people aren't, and the numbers are this big on the house when you're driving by at night. So we'd like to see more of the green signs. So maybe we do a
Yeah.
push of putting something out saying, you know, these signs are available through the fire department. I have forms at the town for them. I don't think I have any here, but I can print them off. Maybe just get that push around town, that if people want them, they can contact me and I can fill out the forms and do it. I don't
that'd
think
be
they
great.
cost much. I think they're $5 or $10
Yeah,
a
I
piece.
think they were 10 when we got ours,
Yeah.
but still,
yeah,
it's priceless if you need the fire
Oh,
department
absolutely,
or the ambulance.
yeah, that would be great. We should get that word out.
Yeah. I don't know how to put it out, you know, if it's a website or,
We'll do that.
yeah, anyway.
And Sarah can do
Facebook,
it at the town too.
Yeah, yep. It's a good winter project because building slows down, so.
Any other questions for Chris? Keep up the good work.
I don't know, was the
Yes.
Kane Street thing on this month or last month? The
There's
judgment?
something on King
There's,
Street.
yeah,
There's a fine.
That there was a letter.
Yeah, there was another letter that was cleaned up, but we did get the judgment on it from the long court case that's gone on.
Yes, that's
I don't know if it's been paid. It was a $2,200 judgment in our favor.
not yet.
Hasn't been paid. I'm assuming he's appealing it, so we'll just keep on this. But regardless, when he
It
wants to
wouldn't
do
come
something,
directly to us, it would go to the town.
yeah, when he wants to do something, he's gonna have to comply with what you know, Mickey originally said 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we might just start the whole process over again, but at least we know that we're in the right, you know,
Goes
when
to
it went
town,
forward.
but we don't get it from the
We
town.
do
Eventually,
eventually,
Goes
but,
to the court first.
but it goes to the court first, yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Looks good.
Thanks, Chris.
Good.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Chris.
No problem.
Thank you
Have a
very
good
much.
night.
Here's my report.
You know,
Welcome to the Village of Champlain Board meeting. We've had some beautiful weather, but with winter right around the corner, the leaves falling quickly, many of you are cleaning up your yards. Leaves and bags may be placed by the curb. You can call the office to let us know that they are there, and a private citizen will come by to pick them up. Brush pickup will also take place. I know they have been picking up a few branches already, but technically it's going to be scheduled the last week of October. This is our only pickup time, so please note that they need to be out then. The moratorium, which allowed recreational fire pits during the summer months, is lifted. Beginning today, Monday, October 17th, there is no burning of any kind in the Village of Champlain per our local code. I'd also like to offer sincere thanks to our village employee Woody Kissel. Upon his retirement, Woody worked at the village for 29 years, taking on many different positions: water plant operator, wastewater plant operator, constable, superintendent, among many, many jobs. His dedication and knowledge is greatly appreciated, and we all wish him a wonderful retirement. Well deserved, Woody. I'd also like to welcome our new employee, Kevin Sterling, who is in training to be the water plant and wastewater plant operator. A graduate of Northeastern Clinton Central School and Clinton Community College, Kevin is really looking forward to working in his local community, and we welcome you, Kevin. There are a number of events coming up that you won't want to miss. Trunk or Treat is on October 29th at 2 p.m. at the playground. We're looking for people to decorate their trunks and hand out candy, and we look forward to seeing all of those cute children in costumes. There's a presentation by author Dan Ledoux that will take place on November 10th at 6:30 p.m. at the Champlain Meeting House. He is going to discuss his new book about courageous women in Clinton County. The Village Holiday Fest is tentatively scheduled for December 10th, and details will be announced soon. I thank you all, and I turn it over to the trustees. Joel, do you have any comments?
No, just, the only thing is the pickleball, or excuse me, pickleball,
Cornhole?
cornhole will have to wait till next year.
Oh, okay.
Getting everything together, just the rewards, and then the time of being able to advertise it and get it out there. I kinda wanted to get more people, like a big event, or like tournament and scheduling, and so, we'll wait till we have more time to be able to get everything together. So I think shooting for like August next year, that
Okay.
way we can, so Champlain Cornhole Championship.
That's great, has a nice ring to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, so the idea is hopefully we can get it going, so it kind of just does itself. That
Like
way
as an
it can-
annual
It
event.
can kind of keep going on, and it's just kind of done by the community, just all that needs to be is just the bags and the setup of the boards, and just go from there. So.
That's good. Chuck?
I don't have much, I just wanna, thank all the employees of the village for doing a good job. And, we're gonna have a busy fall and winter, so keep up the good work.
I second that. They all work very hard. Nikki?
Okay, October 9th, we had a meeting with the garden club members. We discussed the events that we had this summer and events coming up. We have a few activities and ideas for those events. And we also talked about what we can do next spring to prepare the garden and what went well this year and not so well, and then we'll go from there. There will be more meetings throughout the winter and spring. We decided on November 13th at 1 o'clock to have a fall cooking class. We'll be using apples and squash as part of our recipes. That's at 1, did I say that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, what else did I have? Oh, Champlain Kids Connected will be holding their annual crafts and candy cane hunt on December 10th at 1 o'clock with the candy cane hunt at 2:30 at the playground. And news from the library, we have a quarterly meeting this week. We should be holding the annual pumpkin carving contest. I believe it'll be one evening next week. Story hour so far on Saturdays at 10 o'clock have been going pretty well. I'll be hosting it this weekend, so come on down. And yes, the trunk or treat is next Saturday at 2. So that's what we have so far.
Do you wanna, are the senior tech classes still going on?
Yes, Senior Planet. So those are classes for anyone over 55 to come down, and they're courses that help you learn how to use smartphones and computers. And that is, believe there are 3 more Saturdays at 1 o'clock at the library. I don't remember what the next one is.
I don't either.
I don't have the list with me. But last week they learned how to insert images into their messages or texts to send to someone, so they learned how to share photos. We also talked about putting those photos into Google Drive. And some of it is hands-on, you bring your tablet or phone or computer with you and we can walk you through the steps for some of it. And if anyone ever has a question that's not on topic, they're more than willing to answer that and show you how to work with it, so. It's a good class for anyone who does not
Really a great
understand.
opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a grant funded, so, yeah, the more the merrier. It's free.
Thank you. Kim?
Okay, the water board report is ongoing. One of the things that is very confusing in doing this report is the water sewer billing. Only because the water sewer billing is done on a calendar year by quarter. And all of our other financial reports are all done on a fiscal calendar. So you're not looking at apples to apples. So I'm requesting, because I'm writing the report this year, but I know that the rest of the water board would be in agreement, that the water sewer billing get changed to match our financial year, our fiscal year. That way, when we're trying to look at these reports, you're not hopping from year to year to look at them, because you're gathering information from here, and then you're like, oh, I'm gathering it from here. And when Mike LaFontaine, is always tasked with doing the raw cost of water, he was using Mary's report, but then decided that it wasn't really appropriate because it's not matching Juanita's reports. So this year he was pulling from 2 different years.
Yeah.
It just makes more sense for anybody that's going to be working on this board to be looking at things that make sense when it's in front of them. It's very, very confusing when you're trying to do this.
It's just confusing.
Yes.
So-
I'm trying to make it easier.
No, you are, you're stating it clearly.
Excuse me.
For the residents, I'll just, if I could
Yes.
summarize this a little bit, for the residents, what it would mean is, right now, we do January, February, March, and then there's a bill for those 3 months. But what we are considering is, doing, the beginning of our fiscal year is June, so June, July, August, so we're shifting it by a month, basically. So the bills would come a little bit differently than they do now. Right?
Yes, because
Yeah.
what we talked about today was to finish off our fiscal year, we would do April and May would only be a 2-month period versus the normal 3 months.
Yes.
And then started off in June. And because now in the report, I have to add something in there to say, this is, the processed water, but you're not gonna find it anywhere in the report because it's not going to match,
Right.
so.
Mary, do you wanna weigh in on this in terms of sending out the bills or
What it means for you.
what it means for you? 'Cause you,
Once it's changed over, it won't mean a whole lot. It won't be any different. It's just gonna be a different month. It'll be a month earlier than it was before. Instead of October 1st, it'll be September 1st.
yeah,
Okay.
Once that's changed over, so.
and our program that we use for that can adjust to that.
I messaged her today to
Okay.
verify that can be done. I haven't got heard back.
So for the public, I would say, the only concern I would see is, depending on how you budget, your budget, and right now, you budget for the particular months that you're used to, and if you've lived here forever, you're used to when you pay your water bills, so they're just going to be off by 1 month. But that would be something people would have to remember.
It just, to me, and I think the rest of the board, it just makes more sense to have it all be on the same schedule. It's gonna make it easier looking at this stuff.
Oh, I completely agree with you, I don't even know how you've managed to keep this straight.
I'm not, that's why I'm asking, I'm not.
I love that look you just gave me.
I just not.
The board have questions?
No.
Do you see any drawbacks? I mean,
The only
besides
thing
the
is,
little
that
bit-
people gotta realize for the month of April, May, you're gonna be getting a bill at the end of May or beginning of June.
Mhm,
Then there's gonna be the 3 months after
mhm.
that.
Yeah, it's just gonna be that one instead of 3
3
months in
months.
the quarter.
It's gonna be
gonna
two.
Just 2 months.
So
Then we're gonna start all
don't get
new.
excited and think all of a sudden,
Your water bill's-
you're
Your water
saving
bill's
on
a
your
lot
water
less.
bill, cause it's
Yeah.
only for 2 months.
I actually don't mind
No,
that. A summer bill will be due at the end of September,
yeah,
we can do that.
yes,
With
particularly
my-
if you're
my
in
income lines,
education and how you're,
Mhm.
and how the pay schedule.
That is true,
Yeah.
because when you're a 10-month employee,
Yeah.
you don't get paid over the
Yeah,
summer
that's
months.
right.
So,
Yeah. So that might,
that'll work for me.
that's good.
It's fine.
Do we need a motion to change this, do you think?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay,
All right,
thank you,
does everyone
thank
agree?
you very much.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I agree too, I think it
Thanks.
makes sense.
That's always been the one constant through this whole thing.
Mhm.
is
That's
that
the one
it's
thing that
never-
keeps coming
Yeah,
back.
it's never been,
Yeah.
yeah, so, yes, do it.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Let's do it. Anything else, Kim?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you. Report from the clerk treasurer?
We had a water and sewer billing. Water was $65,141.05, and sewer was $70,801.11. We had a correction to last month's abstract, a penalty was added, which for $37.80, so last month's warrant was a total of $26,882.32.
Do we need a,
No,
We don't need
it just
anything?
needs to be, it just needs to be into our minutes that,
We actually pay them less.
yeah,
No.
Okay.
that there was a correction.
okay,
And this month's warrant, we have one, transfer. The transfer is because we have a new little printer in the office, and we did a 1-year, maintenance on it. So I, rather than keep, putting money in there every month, transferring, we'll just do the one total, will last us till the end of the year. So from A 1325.2 clerical, contractual $640, from A 1325.11 clerk schooling, $640.
we have a motion
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? Roll call.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Malinsky.
Aye.
Trustee Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Herzog. Mayor McFetrich.
Aye.
The abstract, we have additional invoices of $12,233.07 for a total abstract of $20,505.63.
We have a motion.
Motion.
Wait,
No,
who
Joel.
said what,
Joel's
Joel?
first.
Okay,
Sorry.
and a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion? Any questions? Any questions at all on any of this?
Is the paving risers?
The paving risers or, Jimmy, what are paving risers?
They're valve box risers.
Those are
They're
the
in the
ones you're
road.
doing on Elm Street? Or no, where were you doing paving risers?
No, they're for the water
Oh, they're
valves.
for the okay, that's right.
Yep.
Okay,
For the hydrants?
No, for the main valves in the road that they're gonna be paving. Cause when we lift the road,
right.
we gotta lift
You've
the
got to
riser.
lift them,
Yep,
so it's level.
Yep.
Thank you.
no problem.
Anything else? Roll call? Oh, wait, Kim, did you have a question?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Malinsky.
Aye.
Trustee Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Herzog.
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye.
Okay, so we also have 2 invoices that need to be paid for the wastewater disinfectant project that's going on at the wastewater treatment plant, for a total of $62,342.31. At this point, we're not gonna get our long-term funding till January, so we will have to make a loan from our general sewer fund to the capital project till January.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So at this point, we're going to transfer $150,000 from the sewer plant from the sewer fund reserves to the capital project, which will hold us till January.
So let's do that first,
Yep.
right? So we'll I need a motion to transfer that from the sewer fund to the capital project
So
fund.
moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, are there questions? It's,
Moving the 150, so then we can
so we
pay
can,
this, and then we have
Till
things,
we,
and
till
then
we get our money,
reimbursed.
till we get our money January, our long-term funding.
yeah, then we'll repay
Right,
ourselves and then,
We're charging interest?
and and let's just hope it really is in January.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're just gonna have to wait. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't just keep,
Okay, so we have a motion to transfer that. Roll call, please.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Malinsky.
Aye.
Trustee Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Herzog.
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye. And then now we can pay those 2 bills,
The
right?
2 bills, yep. The 2 bills that need to be paid for a total of $62,342.31.
And a motion for that,
So moved.
second?
Second.
Okay, one of you, just pick whichever one, that was really together. Any questions on those 2 bills? All right, roll call.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Malinsky.
Aye.
Trustee Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Herzog.
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye. Okay. Juanita, thanks for all you do on this. It's gotten a little
Confusing.
complicated. Confusing is a very good word. We're hanging in there. You're doing a great job. Report from the superintendent, you do have his report. As always, they have been super busy. This DPW crew just does a fantastic job, they all work so hard. And there's always a lot of work. I don't know if anyone has, I know you just got this, so I don't know if you have any questions.
On the pump station at Ashland, so you had to change both pumps, is that because both of them were bad?
Yes,
And how long has that been bad, or it just happened?
supposedly it just happened
So I saw you over there the other day, I was just
2
curious.
weeks ago, I think on a Friday.
I don't even know if it was that long ago.
We had to go back to adjust the floats.
Oh, okay, maybe that was what I saw, yeah. So if they weren't working, what did that affect for short term?
It's Dean's house, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it would flood the basement.
What did?
No, it didn't,
Oh, it could've,
yes.
okay,
They caught it early enough at where it went down
good.
that day. The backup one was, we always have a backup, but the backup one wasn't working either. So I think what was happening is the back one went down and then the back one was down and then the other one went down. Usually when the backup one goes down, you fix it right away, you know. I don't know.
So
If we didn't
maybe-
have a chance, I don't know what it
Yeah,
was.
maybe it just didn't get noticed.
But it had to be, both of them had to be replaced at that time.
Were they both put in about the same time, or?
Yeah, yes, I believe so.
Okay, well, I'm glad you caught it before it went, caused a major problem in a house. All right. Any other questions from the board? Just want to officially thank the DPW crew for all they do. I mean, they all work so hard and they're always very, very busy, but they give 100% or more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're very, very fortunate. Okay, correspondence?
Correspondence from code enforcement to Doug Powers regarding garbage. Request for wastewater credit for Richard Diso at 5 Chestnut Street. Request for, to renew snow removal contract with Champlain Fire District. Request for wastewater credit from Aaron Sorrell at 42 East Street. Request for wastewater credit from Sarah and Jesse Ballard at 42 Oak. An offer to purchase village property from Art Perrier.
All right, so under new business, let's tackle the wastewater credits first. Mary's worked up all the numbers for us, thank you, Mary. The first one is Richard Diso at 5 Chestnut. You can see that it does follow our policy of reimbursement for sewer credits. So that amount is $67.20, using the average use and the difference. May I have a motion to approve this?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The next one is Aaron Sorrell. So we have a sewer credit, proposed sewer credit of $38.40. The curves ran under their house. It was confirmed by the superintendent. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And a wastewater credit request from the Ballards, amounts to $211.20. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. The snow removal contract with the Champlain Fire District, I think we started this maybe 2 years ago. Nothing has changed. So this is it. We renew this annually unless we have some questions or reasons that we need to, change it. May I have a motion to approve this contract?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Nikki. Any discussion?
Yes.
No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Personnel policy, vacation requests, where's my paperwork on this? I think this is just it's a discussion topic. Our Actually, I don't have it. Do all of you have it?
No,
I thought I
oh,
gave,
did it?
I thought I gave it,
I should get,
I thought
I
I
don't
gave it.
have it.
I actually pulled out my policy.
That's what I'm
Oh,
digging
yeah, I
Oh,
for
that's
my
what I
Is this
have,
the
I actually
last
have my
page?
policy
yeah,
there.
it's just
Yeah,
one
okay,
page,
that's
yeah.
what,
It's,
okay.
yeah, it's not the whole policy, I just photocopied what we have, and it's just for discussion to see if the board thinks that anything needs to be done with this policy at some point, I'm not even saying right now, it's a discussion. Basically, just to rephrase for the public who might be viewing this, of course, now I gotta find the right, what page was it, Nikki? Is it on the
Six.
bottom? Okay. 6. So, yeah, so we've got the amount of days, if they're hired prior to 1997, well, we'll be on that. And then all the points about 2 weeks vacation for their first year of work and so on. I think the only question is, submitting vacation time and how much is taken at any point in time. So it's the last paragraph, I think, that's just, I'm not even saying under consideration, it's just a discussion. So the employees submit to their supervisor, one employee on vacation at a time. Vacation requests received between January 1st and March 1st are based on seniority of employee, and then after March 1st are on first come, first served basis. Minimum notice of 2 weeks and a minimum vacation request for a half day.
I think one of the things was the January 1st to March 1st was when you had to put it in, because that was years ago when people started their vacation, started January 1st. Now it starts June 1st. So it's kind of funny to, on June 1st, your vacations are granted and you request them in January.
Yeah, and I think
So-
people request vacation well before January now, that doesn't,
Yeah,
Does that-
so that, but it's saying that in part of that, it says something about requesting them, but starting your request January 1st.
oh, I
must
just
be
thought it
submitted by
meant,
March.
I thought it meant those first months were based on seniority. Even if they're given before, from January to March, they're just based on seniority. I read it as the
Okay.
point was seniority, but now I see, it doesn't really make sense to wait until
I was thinking
January. I
either
mean,
way.
Yeah,
why shouldn't you put a request in October
right,
for,
if you want it, your time
For
off,
the
I think,
following
cause
June.
it used to be people were awarded vacation on it, starting January 1st.
and not
Mhm.
our fiscal year? I mean,
Right, cause if you look back, it's at the time periods that, in that policy, it says if you're hired before a certain date, then it's under this schedule.
yeah, I just
It's
skipped
hired-
over that 1997 thing.
Yeah, so, which has changed, obviously.
So, okay, so the issue is,
Yeah, I think
Those
that was
dates.
that was one of the things that was
Wording
kind of
and-
under
yeah,
consideration
changing
in the
dates.
the actual application for vacation time. when you
well,
were-
what if it was like prior to March 1st, vacation requests will be based on seniority? Leave out the January, or move it up or whatever.
I don't know.
I mean, I agree with the seniority, I have no, I think that makes sense.
So, vacation starts at the beginning of the fiscal year, well, that's when it
That's when
starts.
it's
Yeah.
granted,
Yeah,
you're
that's-
granted
yeah.
your vacation time.
So why can't they just, if they want a vacation, start putting in at that point,
June 2nd.
beginning of the first fiscal, day of the first fiscal
Yeah.
year?
That's what
But
I,
the only problem with that is at some point, because they are a union body, and even if they weren't, it really should be done on a seniority basis.
Well, I have no problem with that.
But again, you're gonna have to put a time frame in, because if you have, you know, it just makes, I don't know, I came from a union shop as you did, where things
I
were,
didn't come from, well,
well,
I wasn't union ever.
well, I was union and then non-union, but we did have to, you know, they had a certain time period that was granted by seniority.
And was that early in the in the year?
Yes.
Like the first, like 4
Well,
months
you
or
were
something?
also talking 2,000 employees.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just trying to think of what makes sense, so if our senior employee wants a vacation in, well, let's say like April,
Mhm.
is he supposed to put in the request like between June and August? Cause that's so far away, I mean, would
Right.
you necessarily know?
Right.
Well, you can put it in anytime.
The sooner the better, it helps the
But
superintendent
you
out.
can't
Yeah.
have, if he
Yeah.
didn't put it in and then one of the other employees put it in first,
Then you would go by seniority.
well, I mean,
But what if he didn't put it in until like September,
Right,
then he's
yeah.
lost,
yeah.
He's lost his,
Yeah,
he's
'cause
lost his seniority.
right?
Right.
So you,
First.
so you have to put it in as quick as you can,
You should. I
Yeah.
put mine in September for like May,
yeah.
to let him know. It makes it easier for,
But I mean, really, you could have put it in
I could've put it in,
May
yeah.
or,
Every year I like to take May off.
Yeah,
I could put it in a year, almost 11 months ahead of time if you
Right.
wanted.
so that's, to be assured of it, I guess that's what you'd have to do. Cause if somebody else put in for it, then all of a sudden, well, gee, I want it now, and that person already had it approved,
and had reservations or something
Yeah,
somewhere,
so, I
plane
mean,
tickets
yeah.
purchased and.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think having a time frame in there is necessarily a bad thing, especially for the seniority purposes.
Yeah,
Because the way we used to do it was, and I used to do it for the people that worked in the department I worked for, is, you would get this massive chunk of vacation requests. And the clerks would go through and they would put them all in seniority order
mhm,
to see, because again, you were dealing with 2,000 employees at one point.
mhm.
And then anything that came in after that time frame was first come, first served. I mean, I know we're not dealing with a large group, but like Jimmy always likes the month of May off. Well,
Right.
if somebody else decides, well, I want 2 weeks off in May, and Jimmy hasn't put his in, and there's not a time frame, then
Yeah, well,
that other person is gonna get it, if you,
Right,
you know what I mean?
yeah, I think we have to have a time frame for the seniority aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of employees, but it's just,
But when we can only have one off at a
Yeah,
time,
Scheduling wise.
Yeah.
then
You
it,
still have to have some idea.
Well,
yeah,
Could you just make a requirement that it has to be a certain amount of time before the time is taken off, that a submission or a request be put in? And then if there's a conflict or if there's an overlap between two other employees, then seniority comes into
I
play?
think it's hard, that makes it hard on the employee to plan though.
Yes.
You know, if I wanna fly someplace in May and I'm not senior and I put it in and I buy my tickets, no one else has put in for it. And then Jimmy wants to go fishing and he's the senior, then, yeah, it's gonna be a problem.
What do you think is best, Jimmy?
I think a time frame would be good.
Earlier in the fiscal year though?
Sure.
Like the June to whatever, June to August or
I
something?
think that would be fine.
for the following year.
And seniority would
Yeah.
rule in between that time frame.
Right,
Senior person.
right,
That would,
Putting it in for the following year.
yeah.
Yeah, you could, I mean, that would make, if you put like a time where people like, just let everybody know, hey, we're picking days for next year if you guys are looking for a vacation. That way, I guess it would be beneficial if everybody could be planned at one
Mhm.
time, so we did know, when people will be here and when they won't be. So I guess that would make sense.
I think it's more helpful when they're taking, a week, 2 weeks
Mhm.
off. The occasional day here, day there, it's not as big of a deal.
Right,
Unless you're trying to take it in conjunction with Memorial Day weekend or 4th of July weekend. You've got family coming or you're traveling somewhere, then that's when it's gonna be.
yeah. All right, so, do you just wanna wait till next month, think it over and work on writing it up to change the dates? Is that okay? To just table it for now and then come back to it?
is there
Okay,
gonna be limits on how many days?
I don't
mean,
think
there's
we've had
nothing
that
in
in
there,
there.
there's nothing in there now, I mean, you guys all work closely together, I think, seems to me like if there's gonna be like something that's really important that has to be done, I mean, I think you've come back to do stuff sometimes.
Yeah, if you're not going out of town and there's an
Yeah.
emergency, there's no problem coming
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing in there now,
Well, I think the precedent has been set to do, to take a month or 4 weeks. So you can't just change it unless it's for newer employees, type thing.
yeah, I mean, it's up to how the board feels, it's a small group, I would hope we could just all work together on it.
I
The
agree.
sooner you put in, the better for vacation, it helps everybody out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it helps Mike too with scheduling
And getting it done by May 31st. So, I mean, I think last year we carried it over, it was just a bunch of circumstances, but really getting it done by May 31st is written in here, is really helpful. Okay, let's table it and we'll write it up for next time and figure it out. Okay, thanks, everyone. All right, so, certification of unpaid taxes, let's see, we've got a form here. This is something that we each have to sign, Mary?
Yes, yeah, this is what's left over that's not yet been paid.
Okay. So everyone, just make sure that you give that to her.
So we just print our name and sign it and date it,
Yep,
and the amount,
yes.
do we put the amount in there that you
Yeah,
have?
the 20,685.
Okay.
No particular date to put in there.
Do we just put today's date?
Today's date, yeah, that's fine, yeah.
All right. There's that. The easement, the easement for Mike Thibodeau. This is the property that's the FEMA buyout land that we are not allowed to sell. We are allowed to grant an easement. So just to remind you, he wants to put in a driveway, it's basically behind Ankel's garage, that he feels would be safer for his, he has the apartments, for his tenants to exit rather on Maiden Lane or Church Street Extension, whatever you call that, rather than onto Route 9. So our decision is, do we want to grant this easement? I did talk to Tom Renane, he said he could drop the contract for it, so there'll be a little bit of a legal cost. Mike's willing to do all of the work with, any kind of stone or repairing the surface.
What kind of liability would we have if we have if there's an easement, if something happens,
Like there's an accident and
anything?
I can ask Tom about that.
I mean,
I imagine that's written in the contract, that we assume no liability.
well, if that's the case, okay.
Is that something that you would want written in?
yes, that the
definitely.
village would have no liability if anything happened.
Any other concerns about doing this? We don't have to grant this.
No, I think it's a good idea.
I see the safety aspect of it for sure.
It's, Route 9's busy.
It's very hard to pull out into that road down there. But any other concerns? I'll call Tom tomorrow about this, so, okay. Sale of village property. We have an offer, for the property on, the Perry's Mills Road. The one piece, there are actually two pieces up there, but the one piece, you can see the attached map. We tried to sell this last year, and I think Kim actually reached out to two property owners nearby, and they decided that they were not interested. But we now have an offer, and so we have to decide if we're going to accept this offer.
So it's 18.1.70. That,
That's the plot number.
that's the
That's the
plot.
plot number,
No, that's
yes.
not all of the property, correct?
Well, the other property is the 18-1-72, I believe, which also goes over to the other side of the
Over
river.
here.
Yeah, it's larger. He's also considering that. But right now, this offer is only for the first one. It includes the old, water
Pump house.
pump house.
Yeah.
He's familiar with the property because his father worked for the village and worked on that, at that pump house, so he's very familiar with the property. Why don't we get a motion on the floor and then we can discuss it better? So could I have a motion? Kim?
Make a motion.
Second.
All right, so discussion.
Well, if he's familiar with the property,
We went there the other day,
Yeah.
after he came here.
Yeah,
if he's familiar with the property, then he knows about it and
He does.
anything else.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem getting rid of that property. Again, we had talked about this previously with, no liability,
yeah. He and I discussed it too. He's well aware of what's on that property, how, the layout, everything.
I see no problem with it.
I don't have any problem with it either, it'd just be nice not to have all this property, just pieces here, pieces there.
Right.
What, we'd have to pay some legal costs.
Well, there'll be some, when you sell property, there're going to be some. I think the village lawyer will also be his lawyer, which cuts down on things sometimes. So he would draw up the sale contract. And then we would each have our legal fees that we would have to, but, we're going to regardless, and we have been trying to sell this, so.
And I think it's a fair offer.
Yeah, I think it's very fair. Yeah, it is very fair. And he is attached to the property and he really likes it.
Yeah, his dad was, I believe, the
Mhm.
supervisor.
Yes,
Yep.
Alan.
Yeah,
That's back when my dad was mayor.
oh, well,
That's why I know the name.
Yeah,
Is that his brother?
So,
That's Art's brother, I think, Alan.
wasn't that his father?
Alan is-
No, his
no,
father was
Pat.
Pat.
Pat was his
That's
father.
it, that's
right,
it, okay.
yes.
And Pat used to
That's-
live on,
Maiden Lane?
Okay,
then Alan was his superintendent.
Alan
Yes.
was the
so
superintendent
that's his
also.
brother, that's his brother.
That's his
Oh,
brother.
Oh, that's
okay.
Alan's brother.
yes,
All right,
Oh, okay,
and the father was Pat,
Yeah.
okay,
That's right.
okay.
there we
and
go.
he worked here too.
Okay,
Everybody's connected.
That
yeah,
was just before me.
And Art worked here for the village.
yes, yes,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, so they've been well involved with this. Any other discussion? All right, so we don't need a roll call on this, do we?
We're not spending the money
Right.
yet.
Yeah.
We're dealing with money, but we're not spending it. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. All right, let's see. Old business, dog control, I think that continues to be tabled, unless anyone has anything else they wanna bring up about that. The DEC cleanup bill, update. I've turned a lot of this over to the village lawyer, who has been in contact with, the man from the Attorney General's office. Let's see, I don't wanna get this all confused. The man from the Attorney General's office has reached out to the gas company and he's awaiting a response. As far as I know, he has not heard from them. So that's the first place that they're going to go for some of this money. And I have not heard anything about that yet, if that's gonna result in anything. So, Tom Renane and he, are going to negotiate this for us. So it's coming down to, it's going to be negotiated. I was advised that that's the way it has to be done. But meanwhile, Mary has done some interesting research about insurance.
Yeah,
And so I'm gonna turn this part over to you.
well, it's gone from liability to actually property, as property insurance, and, it didn't get cut off and they didn't say no, so they moved it on to a few other people, and they are actually gonna be sending someone here to look at the property, see what's been done. I think the maximum we could get for that would be $10,000, but if that would be awarded, I don't know if it will or not. There's questions about the time period in which we should have reported it, but we did not know that we were going to be responsible for paying it
Right.
until 4 years later.
Yeah.
So, it's not cut off, but I'm just waiting to hear when they're going to send someone here to take a look.
Thanks for doing all that work too.
Mhm.
So we don't really know. We don't really know, but we do have a few doors still open to it, to finding funds to pay it, or at least pay part of it. So we'll just wait till the next chapter. Water and wastewater treatment plant operator, just for your information, we have hired Tina Gardner. She's out of Essex, New York. She is coming twice a week. She has her 2A license. She came last week. She's working with both Robert and Kevin. Robert's doing a great job on the weekend rounds. He's also been very helpful with Kevin, and I think Kevin's learning a lot fairly quickly. So we have hired an outsider right now who has the proper license, and that's where we're at. So that's all good. Water theft from hydrants. I know we agreed with the town's thoughts on the water theft, and I know I'm supposed to bring this up, but I didn't get anything more from the supervisor in terms of an agreement or a policy so we might have to table this.
Now, has there been a fine assessed, or has the
I don't know what
Are
they're
you talking about
proposing.
the town?
The
Town, yeah.
town, I don't know what they're proposing for the fine, because we agreed that something had to be done, and we
Right.
had the different steps that we
Mhm.
wanted taken. The people couldn't just randomly tap a hydrant for their business.
last we knew was that they're waiting to hear from the judge on what the fine should be.
Right, and I don't know that they have, I don't know that that's been
I mean,
finalized.
that's
Yeah, and I have
like
not
well over
heard.
a month ago.
He's had a lot of other things going on
Yeah, well, and it's
with
budget
the
time,
courts.
yeah,
The court's been busy,
yeah.
Has the individuals been notified that they
yes.
they have? Again,
So in terms of an actual, I mean, I think we're all in agreement, the town and the village, but in terms of an actual statement, I don't know if that's been written, and I didn't get anything. So I'll just let him know that we discussed it again, and I did let him know that we agreed. All right. I have to add one thing, and that's the land donation from the Kupals, down on Main Street. Due to some lack of knowledge on my part, and probably theirs, but I'll take part of the blame. I thought when we accepted the donation, which we did, that it was kind of all said and done. Well, it hadn't been officially transferred in the county, and so the Kupals received the tax bill that came out in September. And it's still their property, because it hadn't officially been transferred, because there's some legal work that has to be done, and that just wasn't done. So, they are asking, if we will repay them the tax bill, which they wouldn't have gotten if it had been done properly, and do the legal work to transfer it in the property. I wrote to our attorney, and he said he would also recommend that we do a title search, which would be around $300. So, my question to the board is, although we already accepted this, we didn't realize there was money going to be spent. So it's the taxes, which were around 300, a title search around 300, and then some legal fees that I don't really know.
It's just gonna be a little shy of $1,000.
That's my guess,
Yeah.
that's my guess. I
And
mean, we're paying nothing for the property, but now there will be some expenses attached to getting
my
it.
opinion is, if you want it,
Oh, I do want everyone's opinion.
for $1,000, I think we could spend that somewhere else if we wanted to spend $1,000, and we don't need extra green space in village when we got so much.
How's
Well,
everyone else feel?
I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think the fact that we said that we would take it and we, you know, whether or not we knew or we put things in order, I think we owe it to them to follow through with what we said that we would do, which we would take it. So I think we incur the cost, and I think the value of the property for $1,000 is well worth it. I think. Looking forward, I mean, presumably it'll be there forever, it'll continue to appreciate value, and I mean, I think it's worth $1,000 in and of itself. But it's just my thought.
Anyone else?
My fear would be that if we don't do our due diligence and take the property legally and follow all the procedures, and something happens, someone gets hurt on that property, it's still under Kupal's name, oh, but we gave it to the village, they accepted it, now you're gonna be fighting another kind of legal battle.
Not really, because we don't own it,
We accepted it.
We did accept it
but there's no legal paperwork that has been filed.
Yeah, but that's because, I mean, I'll take the blame for it, but I didn't understand the process.
Well,
So until, I thought it was ours, I mean, I even
As a
asked the guys to
donor.
go cut down a lot of brush on it.
Which, by the way, it looks
and-
great.
Which looks really nice.
Because it looks really nice.
You know, we did tell them we were accepting it, and it was given in good faith, I mean, they wanted to give the village something.
And they didn't know anything.
They didn't, I don't, no, they didn't know either, and they were very surprised when they got the tax bill.
Which cancels itself out, really,
Yeah,
so it's less than 1,000.
well, I mean, well, that's
Well-
taxes for the school,
that's not our
Oh,
tax,
that's
so it's
the
not
school,
for
I
us,
thought it meant,
yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
September
school
would be the
tax.
school.
$355.
That's it though for the year. Or is that?
And there
Well,
was
once it's-
$75 for village tax. Was it village tax?
It was minimal,
I
Yeah,
would
but
say
but,
village tax has to be minimal.
that was July though.
when did we, I don't know when we accepted it. I don't know
Last
when we-
August?
Huh?
Accepted it last August.
Yeah, they paid that tax in the village because they still own the property. Correct.
That was last, like, August
The
21,
official
I think, wasn't
acceptance,
it?
I think,
Let me
was,
look in the minutes.
This year.
all he's asking for is for us to pay this
No,
recent
it
tax
was
bill.
August of last year.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, 'cause we
It
looked
was
it up.
August of last year when we accepted the property. So he got the town tax, he got the village tax, and then he got the school tax. So we get two other taxes before he
Yeah.
got that one.
Well, my understanding is he's asking for this recent one.
Right. Yes.
Gotcha.
Well, we have accepted it,
We did.
Yes, we have accepted it.
and
Well, we accepted based on it wasn't gonna cost us anything. That was the impression I had.
Well, I agree, but I did not understand how you, when you get something, how you transfer it.
Well, it's just like the other property we got, and that didn't cost us anything. Church Street.
True. But he went through his lawyer.
Right.
Well, I suppose we should vote on this. So let's see, can I have a motion, please?
So the motion is. Motion to approve the payment for the fees associated with accepting the property.
Yes. We have a second for that?
Second.
All right, other discussion? All right. We're spending money. Roll call.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Malinsky,
Aye.
trustee Connor,
No,
trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
So the motion carries. I'd like a motion to close the regular meeting, please.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then a motion to go into executive session,
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
My
Okay.
chair. Look. Yeah.
All right, let's see here. I don't need to grab my white papers here. All right, so I'd like a motion to come out of executive session.
so move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And now a motion to go back into the regular session.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, I believe we have a motion to put on the floor.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to amend, the
And
memorandum.
it's an addendum.
Addendum, excuse me, add an addendum to the memorandum of understanding, section 3.2A, just after the distinguishing features of the class, and it's as readed. The starting salary of this position would be $20.10 per hour. College degree in a related field will add a stipend of 40 cents per hour. Employee will receive the following stipends upon receiving certification, and then everything follows that as the same.
Can you add the position to that motion?
Yes,
It's up
sorry,
top.
the wastewater, maintenance of wastewater treatment and water treatment.
Water and wastewater treatment plant operator.
Water and waste, excuse me, sorry, water and waste plant, treatment plant operator.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Now, do we need a roll call on this?
Yeah. we
I
can do
think
a
so.
roll call. Yeah, we can do
I
it.
think so.
If you're
Yes,
doing a
roll
major
call. I think so.
amendment, yes.
Roll call?
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Malinsky,
Aye.
trustee Connor,
Aye.
trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Is there anything else on the agenda? Oh, I actually have one, I'm sorry, I do have one brief thing. We got a bill from the town of Champlain. It's for $4,600. It's for the first video in the marketing that we've been all working on together. The town is requesting that they pay 50% of this bill, and the two villages each pay 25% of the bill. So I do need authorization that, I didn't do the math, but a quarter of 4,600, because they do want to pay this bill, and they just basically wanna know that we will contribute 25%. This is one of several videos and part of marketing that we're doing for we're calling it the Town of Champlain and its villages. Just to bring in business, people moving here, to create more focus on the Town of Champlain and the villages. So, could I get a motion that we pay 25% of
Which is
this?
$1,150.
Thank
So
you.
moved.
So, yeah.
And a second,
Second.
roll call.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Malinsky,
Aye.
trustee Connor,
Aye.
trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye.
Okay, so are we gonna add this to the warrant?
No,
Or-
it sounded like Sarah just wanted to know that the money would be forthcoming.
Oh, so, okay.
So you could just ask her about that, but it didn't
Well,
sound like it
because if we
needed to
don't
be said.
approve, if we don't approve it to pay it now, then we have to wait till next month.
So maybe we should move to pay it now.
Well, it's
Is
up
that
to
what
you.
you're saying?
Add it
Yes.
to the warrant.
Yes.
Just add it to the warrant, so
Yeah.
that's going to change the amount of the warrant by, what'd you say, 1,100?
11:50.
1150. Yeah, the first video is very,
Oh, it's
very well
really
done.
good.
Very well
It's
done.
really good.
And the next one's going to be a winter one. So they're going to do like sledding on St. Mary's, maybe skiing or snowshoeing on the rec trail.
Where do you see the video?
It's not
It's not
public,
Well, it's not public.
yet. Not yet.
not yet.
When will it be?
Hasn't been
It
paid
should
for
be
yet.
soon. Yeah,
It gets paid for.
I don't know, I know there's a whole process that they're following, the marketing team is following the whole process.
Is it-
Yeah, I don't know. Juanita, do we have to reapprove the amount of the
Fredericks.
warrant
I
in
think we can.
total, or can we just put it
amend the
in?
warrants for
Amend the
Amend the
warrant to
warrant.
include, amend the
Yes.
warrant to
Yes.
include this bill of $1,150 for a total warrant of $21,655.60.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion on that? Roll call?
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Malinsky,
Aye.
trustee Connor,
Aye.
trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye.
Okay, what about parking on the streets,
Parking on the streets?
winter?
Oh, no, is it November first
I
to,
think it's November first.
April.
does that have to be officially,
Oh,
we don't have to
November.
pass it, it's in our code.
No, it's in the
Yeah,
code.
but you just
Usually-
mentioned it.
Usually announce
Just-
it.
Oh,
All right.
okay. I'd like the public to know that that there is no parking on the village streets, from November first to
April.
April first, between the hours of 2 AM and 6 AM. Thank you.
That's out the way.
A motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I forgot about that.
Who enforces it?
Can the motion be made?
Mm-hmm.
Can I get a copy of that?
Yes.
Write that down.
This is the part that I read, and then it's, I guess this is probably in the bargaining full-time employee position of waterway piece of thing, and then this. Did you not have that? I didn't know that. Okay.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So much, so much. You don't even know.
It's on airplane mode. FaceTime goes off on airplane mode?
Oh, you might have Wi-Fi. Do you have the
Yeah.
Wi-Fi? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I did.
I think Nikki has one. Yep.
Is this everything?
Are you taking
Can I,
shredded?
can I get a copy of your referendum?
Or what?
Your referendum or
Oh, the addendum?
your, yeah.
Well, it's gotta be, it's what I gave you before. It's
Yeah,
gotta
I
be
read,
typed out. Can I just give it to you in the morning?
Sure.
Cause it's all like
Sure.
written out.
I didn't quite
sloppy.
understand everything, but it's the same as what I have.
So, yeah, you had it before, so basically,
The starting stays the same.
the starting's the same, there's a stipend for a college degree in a related field of 40 cents per hour.
Okay, and that starts this pay week? About 40 cents?
Yeah,
It would have to
yeah.
go back, it would go back to when you
Yeah,
start